What's up, y'all? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and guess what? Today I'm here with my top 5 favorite micros for 2016. That's right, I'm here with my favorite micros that I like to fly around from the year 2016. And first off, I just want to get my honorable mentions out the way. I got a few honorable mentions, and the first honorable mention is the JXD 388. Now this thing is a nice flyer. It has a pretty slow yaw rate though. The yaw rate isn't that fast, but the pitch is very deep, so that makes it able to do very fast flying, and it can turn on a drop of a dime. Really nice flying quad, but it flies a little heavy. It's the frame of it is a little heavy, and they did come out with a bigger, beefier motor wielding version, the JXD 392. As you can see, this thing is battered and bruised, but this thing flies a little better than that one. It has 8.5 millimeter motors to compensate for the extra weight, but it does have a camera. And so that makes it fly almost the same as this one, but this one does fly a little bit better. This is the Top Race rebrand of it, by the way. But for the most part, this was a really nice flyer. I really liked it. And the only reason that it didn't make this list is because there are other flyers that I like better than this. But that's one of the reasons why, because of its weight and its slow yaw rate as well. So that's my first honorable mention. And my other honorable mention is the CG023. Now this thing has a really nice yaw rate. It has a very deep pitch. This thing flies awesome. It would definitely be in my list if it wasn't for its poor LED placement. It does have LEDs for night flying, but they're very close together, so it's not really ideal for night flying. I actually lost one of these flying it at night. I guess it wasn't due to the lights for the most part, because I have learned to really fly these things and keep my orientation off of forward movement alone. But what happened was a gust of wind hit it and I lost orientation, and by the time I figured out which way it was facing, it was so far away that I just had to just bring it down. And by the time I got to it, I couldn't find it, because this thing has an auto timer where it shuts off from inactivity. So this is my second version, and this one is a little different. It's a different version of it, and the lights are a little different. That's the only thing, but for the most part, same flyer, same characteristics and everything. But that's the reason why this one didn't make my list, because of its poor lighting. It's the CG023. Awesome flyer, but didn't make my list. And I think I do have another honorable mention, and it's this thing. And this is the DM008, I believe it is, or the DM003. But anyhow, this thing flies really nice. It flies awesome. It has awesome night lights. It looks like it's black, but when you plug a battery into it, you see that the frame, the shell, is actually semi-transparent. It's smoky transparent, so you can get light showing through here. Let me plug it in and let you guys see it. If I can get this plugged in. Oh, why isn't this thing working? This battery must be dead. Let me plug this little battery in here. I have. Okay. So check the lights out. The lights actually shine through the shell of this thing. So that's pretty awesome. And the only thing that stopped this from being on my list, because the motors seem a little weak. It has excellent flight characteristics, a nice fast yaw rate, nice deep pitch. It even has deviation. You can fly this thing with deviation, but the motors just seem a little weak. And when you do hard turns, it seems to fall off from holding its position and all. But it's a really nice flyer though. especially for indoors and just casual flying. This thing is really nice, but the motors just seem a little weak. And you guys know I like to fly hard, so that's why this one didn't make my list. But this is a really awesome flyer. So now let's get on to my list. Now, number 5 on my list is this guy, the MJX X800. It's a hexacopter, but hexacopters count in this list. It is a micro, and this thing flies awesome. It is deviated. With deviation, it flies even more awesome. But this thing flies nice even with the stock transmitter, and it has a G sensor is what they're calling it, where you can tilt the transmitter and actually control this thing. And it takes a big 750 milliamp hour LiPo, and this is just a really nice flyer. It flips and all, does nice flips, and it just looks really awesome when you're banking turns with it. And nice lighting on it too as well. So, and it flies with a lot of power. This thing is really awesome. So that's number 5 on my list of my top 5 favorite micros of 2016. And so number 4 is this thing, the XS 1.1, aka the dancing quadcopter. This thing has really nice lighting, and its highlight is its super fast yaw rate. This thing has a very fast yaw rate, but it's somewhat proportional. You can slow it down, so you can fly this thing on high rates and really control it, have nice control with it. It has deep pitch, but I think all the rates on this one seems like they're the same, only the yaw rate changes, because even on low rates, when you pitch it forward, it seems like it flies really fast. It has the same pitch, I think, on all rates, but really nice flyer, really awesome. And it has that super fast yaw rate on the 3rd rate, and it can be controlled. So this thing is really fun to fly. You can fly it around really fast. It has an on and off switch on it. Really nice flyer. And oh, and this shell here seems to be indestructible. I've crashed this thing a bunch of times outside on the hard concrete, and it just keeps going, and you can barely see any scuffs or anything on it. This thing is awesome. So that's number 4 on my list, the XS 1.1, the dancing quadcopter. And so number 3 on my list is Uranus. That's right, Uranus made this list. This thing flies really awesome. It has really nice lighting, and the only thing that is a problem maybe for some people with this quadcopter is that the posts on the motors are really tiny. They're the size of the posts that are usually found on 6mm motors, and so it's hard to find props for this thing. But this thing flies really nice. It has an excellent yaw rate. The yaw rate is really fast. It's really proportional. I don't think it's deviated though. Last I checked, it wasn't deviated, but with the stock transmitter, it flies okay. This is the Mode King Uranus, and this thing flies nice. So yes, Uranus made this list. Uranus is an excellent flyer. And so, moving right along, number 2 on my list is this thing. Now, I've been calling this the Voodoo Quad. This is the Jun Ching mini drone, and I can't remember the model number that they put on this thing, but this thing flies really awesome. Now, there's a bunch of different versions of this out. There are some horrible versions out. It took me about 4 tries to actually get this one. This is the one that's on the Huying Toys protocol, and it flies really nice. It's deviated. And man, this thing is a really nice flyer. I hate it. Well, actually, the original version of this that I was calling the Voodoo quad was an excellent flyer as well. It had an excellent yaw rate. It had very deep pitch. It had really nice flight characteristics. But for some reason, it just used to flip on you. It used to flip on me all the time. It flipped on everyone. It flipped on everyone that even tried to review this thing. It flipped on Quadcopter 101. It actually does unexpected flips on its own. And Quadcopter 101 was thinking that it was due to vibrations in here, but that didn't help. This thing just was flipping on its own. I don't know what it was, but apparently they started working on fixing that, and they came up with a horrible version that didn't flip, but the flight characteristics were horrible, and sometimes it would not even work when it's cold. I don't know what was up with that, but someone was tipping me off that there was a nice version of it that was flying on a Huying Toys protocol, and my friend Mike Thompson, he was telling me he had one and it was awesome, never flipped on him. And so I finally got one, and this thing is really awesome. I just can't say enough about how nice this thing flies. It has really nice lighting. It has green and blue lights on it, so it looks really pretty at night when it's flying. And it comes in black and gold as well, but the black and gold version, I haven't seen it on a Huying Toys protocol. Really hard to get the really good flying version of this, and I am proud to say that I do have one. So this thing is a little hard to get. So I was starting to get a little discouraged about trying to get it, because I was on like my fourth try, and I actually got one. So very happy about that. So number one on my list is the JJ1000 still. The JJ1000 is the best flying micro that I've flown. This thing has excellent lighting. It has a really nice yaw rate. They actually updated it. This is the shell of the old version, but the newer version actually has a similar shell, but it's a little different. Let me see. This is the newer shell, but mine has different props on it and all, and there's a different motherboard in here, but this is what the shell looks like. But this thing is a really nice flyer, really awesome. My favorite one, I have a red shell on it now, but something happened to it. It's waiting for repairs right now. So this is the only working version that I have to show, but this thing is really awesome. Really nice flyer, the best flying micro that I've laid hands on, the JJRC JJ1000. So there you have it, Frequent Flyers top 5 favorite flying micros of 2016. Thanks for watching. Okay, we out here, and we only find one of these because it's cold as heck out here. And I know I shouldn't have, but I stuffed a 400 milliamp hour JJRC battery in Uranus. Uranus flips awesome. And this is Uranus mid-rate, by the way. Mid-rates fly awesome on this thing. Now let's check out its high rate. That's the yaw and high rates. So ridiculous yaw and high rates on this thing. Look at it, it over yaws easy. Still recovering. Yet I'm still out here in the blistering cold for you guys. You guys can see Uranus is an awesome flyer. Shout out to Bo from Forward Flight for putting me on to this one. I don't know if this one has become available again, but when I was getting it, when I got it, Uranus was very hard to get your hands on. Only a select few people were able to get their hands on Uranus, and it was just selling out as soon as it became available. But that was a while ago. So I haven't checked back on Amazon to see if this thing has become available again. Basically, Mold King tried to clone the JJRC JJ1000, and their version is pretty good. I'm tired of being out here in the cold. Let's see if we can get a nice landing. Can we do it? Oh, and Uranus hit me in the nads. So that's it. Quick flight of Uranus. Thanks for watching.